thank you for having me today here in Abu Dhabi. I'm thrilled to be here. As I mentioned, I'm Kimberly Smith. I'm the Chief Capital Formation Officer at Techstars. And many people ask me why I joined Techstars, and it's because of you, because of the entrepreneurs that make our world tick. And I'm so excited here today, and I hope many of you guys find me after this presentation because I want to help you build a great company. Every year at Techstars, over 600 companies, early stage companies, join our 3-month accelerators around the world. We are investing $120,000 in each of them and providing them with hand-on mentorship and access to Techstars Network for Life. Over the last decade and a half, we have invested over 3,000 companies, totaling that have been able to raise over $25 billion in funding. And we have over 22 unicorns. And what's even more amazing is a year following our program, the average company raises about $1 million. But as a career fundraiser myself, that is what people ask me. How do I raise money? And the good news is, it's not impossible. Ooh, I'm gonna fall though. It's not impossible. Hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs just like you have been down this path. And I believe that there's a few key metrics that can help you raise money. It's hard work, but I'm going to demystify the process for you. You found your unicorn. Like, you have this $1 billion idea. Now what? What do you do next? First, you have to say to yourself, what problem are you trying to solve? How is your team, maybe it's your friends from college, maybe it's some guy you met next door, your roommate, but how is your team going to help you solve the problem? And how, when you look at the problem you are trying to solve, make sure you understand the market's not just you and your friends, but there are millions, billions of people around the world that will help you solve the problem. And when you think about that problem, think about your narrative. It's got to be clear and concise. And when you're speaking with venture capitalists or even friends, how are you executing that vision? And ultimately asking for money. What I find often is that many entrepreneurs don't know when to ask for money or how to ask for money. So I want to just demystify this a little bit. Incubator, accelerator, like we do and others around the world, that's pre-seed. You have an idea, it's a great idea, but you don't have an MVP, you don't have a proof of concept, but you have a great idea. That's the early stage. That's the hardest stage. You get to that next round, you have a proof of concept, you start to raise money, people are using it, it's a seed stage. As time goes on, like Series A, you're still pre-revenue, but you're making some traction. You are showing that you have a concept that at least some part of the world finds helpful, finds value. As you move on, you better start to have some revenue by Series C, or you're going to have a really hard conversation, particularly in this market. But make sure you know your round dynamics. One of the biggest things I find when I'm mentoring early stage entrepreneurs is they don't know their round. They think they have a great idea, it's the best idea, but they think it's already a Series A because it's the best idea. You have no revenue, no money. Reset your expectations. Take it slow, be purposeful, but make sure to know your round. So here are the 10 things. It's no secret that investors invest when they can visualize the inevitable. And what's the inevitable? Success. Success is the inevitable. So how do you make them feel that you have the bones, the wherewithal, the idea to sign that check? First, you have to make it clear that you are solving a problem for the customer. And what is that problem you're solving? What is that customer's pain point? Do not think it's just because it's your pain point. You have to go out and understand the market and making sure that that truly is a customer's pain point, that you are actually going to help them grow their business. Second, you have to show, particularly when you're talking to venture capitalists, the team. One of the things we find, particularly in early stage founders, is they don't have a team. They have a friend, but they don't have a real CTO, but they have a technology company, but with no CTO. Like, a venture capital firm doesn't want to see that. They want a team that can execute on your vision, a team that can show that you can work together in the long term. The other thing, and one of the bigger mistakes I see with founders, is they don't know their addressable market. Like, I can't say this enough. When I go meet with early stage companies that I mentor, and they don't know who they're trying to address or the size of their market, I immediately kind of blank out, because I'm like, they haven't done the work. Why should I do the work for them? Do the work for them. Make it easy. They may love you, but if you don't know your market, you don't know your numbers, there are 50 other guys waiting in the lobby for their check. This thing is, the interesting thing about the addressable market, it means a lot to different people. The market for your product or idea needs to be big, particularly now in this market, and at least large enough to justify the time and effort it goes into building a company. Guy came to me the other day, he thinks he has a better way to carry 2 Starbucks cups at a time. I have 2 hands. I don't need that. Nobody needs that. And it was more wasteful from a product perspective. It worked for him because he wanted to drive his Starbucks on a bike. You have to know that that's not a business. That's a hobby. And that's the thing. He didn't say and go out. He spent time, money, effort, but he never went out and said, hey, how many customers would this be interested in? Would he talk to people at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts? It's just not about, okay, 50 billion people, 60 billion, a trillion people drink coffee. It's about how they want to carry the coffee, how they want to execute that, how they want to spend their time and money. So please know that before you talk to investors. When I think about, when I think about this competitive landscape too, just to quickly add, you have to understand, is there a white space in that market that people have failed to address? And that's a very big point. What are you doing better? What are you doing better than others? How can you make it easier? This is an economy where people want ease. They want to order their coffee on their phone. They want to order their taxi from their phone. How do you make someone's life easier? How are you solving that problem? Another very big mistake I hear from founders are a lot of startup founders get hung up on traction, milestones, and other goalposts. They're thinking, a lot of founders come from McKinsey, Bain, you name it, the top consulting firms, and they're focused on KPIs. But I will tell you truthfully, those metrics are just red herrings. An easy way for an investor to get a founder off their back. Because normally when I meet with an investor that talks about their KPIs and their traction, I almost intuitively say, Okay, well, when you reach X milestone, come back to me. But the reality is, I'm already done with the idea. The numbers are not what investors are looking for. That is not the sole thing they are looking for. They are looking at you and how you can build a successful company. If they do not feel that you are going to be that success is inevitable for your startup, they won't invest, no matter how great your milestones are. So instead, what do you want to focus on? Focus on gaining traction today and ensure that you can answer the following questions. Do you have a right product? Is the idea you're cultivating have enough of a market to solve a problem faced by the consumer? Does your product answer the question buyers have been looking for? If you can answer those questions, you are on your way, and I promise you that. Before you kick off your fundraising process, please understand your round. As I talked about earlier, know where you are relative to the market. If you come in and you have no money, no revenue, no MVP, and say this is a Series A, the meeting is done. You really must know your market. But also what you need to know is, what am I doing with the money? I give you $1 million, where's it going? Is it social media? Is it new hires? Is it improving tech? They want to know, if I invest in you, what are you doing with my money? And are you executing properly? And by the way, and doing what you say after that meeting. One of the other things, key mistakes I hear from entrepreneurs when they go meet with venture capitalist firms, they do not know their numbers. You have a CPG company, and you can't tell me the cost of goods, I'm done. Like, how can you manage a business? How can you not? You may just be the CEO, you may say you're the creative type, you have a great CFO, that's great, you're the founder. The founder needs to understand how much their product costs from the day it leaves the warehouse in China or wherever and goes to the customer's hands. Because otherwise, you can't balance a book. So please, you have to know your numbers. And the other big thing, the big loss, and everybody's seen this on Shark Tank, how are you valuing your company? Justify that valuation. I'm not Mr. Wonderful over here, but I can assure you, if you go in and say, I give it $20 million because my buddy had a similar, they're done. Know how you evaluate your company and why. Back that up. Market, team, innovation, growth. You have the demand, but articulate that. Be ruthless. Like, be ruthless. This is for any CEO, any founder. You know what you're gonna meet? I'm gonna meet with you. Oh, I love your idea for gig economy, for retirement plans for gig economy. Oh, you should do it in crypto so you can focus on countries where their currency fluctuates. No. Focus on your market today. You're in the US, you want to focus on gig economy workers in the US and helping them great financial planning? Great, focus on the US dollar. Do not get sidetracked. You will be thrown so many different ideas. Oh, you shouldn't do gig economy, you should do caregivers. Like, it doesn't matter. You have a good idea, people are liking it, they're supporting it, but they want to see you execute on it. Focus on one thing. Don't come to an investor meeting, it may be in your head, okay, crypto's in the back of my head. Once I get my gig economy retirement plan going, that's great, don't tell me. Because you need to be, they want to see you ruthless in your prioritization. They may want to talk about your vision, but not on that early round. So just be careful with that. That is the biggest pitfall I see with early stage founders. They're hearing a lot of good ideas, and then they pivot. The network. Today, meet everybody here. shake each other's hands, become friends. You might be in fintech, you might be in CPG, you might be in sports tech, does not matter. Because you know what, that sports tech guy is gonna meet with a VC that's focused on fintech, he'll introduce you. Dig deep into your network. It is a flywheel. It is a flywheel, and there is no opportunity, whether it's here, golf course, hopefully at the F1, I hope you guys are all there. Those are always opportunities for you to raise capital. There is that one person, your uncle's cousin, oh, they're into fintech early stage. Network, network, network. Do not leave your cards at home. Make sure your LinkedIn profile is updated. Make sure your LinkedIn profile is updated. I'm saying it twice. It is very important when you're out there that you connecting with people, keeping people updated in any mean, whether it's LinkedIn, social media, on what you're doing. But the power of network is strong. You saw this in early stage VC. People in Silicon Valley, they all knew each other. They all went to Harvard. They all went to the same golf clubs, same frat. They raised money early on. You got to be out there too. And this is what I love when I meet with founders. Fall in love with the problem, not the product. You are trying to solve for something. You are trying to make a difference. And so a founder that is always looking to solve a problem is someone that really entices me, because they're always trying to iterate on that product, singular, remember, singular, ruthless prioritization, singular, but focus on the problem. The product will evolve over time. All products have evolved over time. But if you focus on the problem that you're trying to solve, you will continually iterate on it. Those that get away from that after limited success are those that don't end up as successful. That's fact. You're asking people for money. This is not a charity. It kills me. But when people go out there and they think it's a charity, that they are asking for a donation for help, but this is an investment. You guys want the same thing. You want money from investors, and they want to make money. Do not go in with the mindset that you are asking for money. You're asking for an investment in you and your product. And it's super important that people remember that. If you go in and it's like a charity and you're trying to be nice, who cares? They want to make sure that you have hit all these points, you're solving a problem, you're prioritizing it, you know what you're doing, you have the team, you can execute on it, but don't feel like you're asking for a charity. You are asking for an investment in you and your company, and you need to lead with that. Have a concise pitch. Please, God, don't ever bring in a 100-page pitch book. People will not read it. It is a Twitterized world. You want to go in, first 90 seconds, what do? Bang, time yourself. 90 seconds is almost too long. Ideally 60, but I'm trying to be kind today. 90 seconds max. Articulate what you're going to say, be clear and concise, and a pitch book to match. Yeah, your pitch book will have the problem you're trying to solve, but please, please don't go into a 5-10 minute diatribe. Too complicated, people are moved on. The one thing I just want to wrap up with is that I think is ultimately important with all of this. Be true to yourself. An investment in you, in your companies, is a mini marriage. Particularly at early stage, these people will see you from the beginning to the end. You want them to be a partner. You want them to be a sounding board. In some ways, you want them to be your hype person. And make sure, because there are low lows when you're an entrepreneur, and there are high highs. But make sure that when you leave a meeting with an investor, that you feel connected to them, that they connect to you on some level, that they know a little bit about you before you walk out the door. This is going to sound like an Instagram ad, be your authentic self, as the kids say, because what you don't want, that whole fake it till you make it, that doesn't work in venture. They need to know you, you need to know them. You want to make sure that if this potential 10-year marriage between now, say seed stage to IPO, is a long one. Make sure it can count. And I want to leave one final note, and if we have time, answer any questions. All of you guys, when you're on the bell at the NASDAQ or at FTSE, whatever, I want you to call me because you did it. And I will be your hype girl, and I'll be so proud of you. And then it's possible to raise money. So thank you. I don't know if do we have time for 2 questions?
Hi. Thanks for that. I'm the co-founder and CEO of a startup in the blockchain space.
I'm big crypto.
I'll speak to you after as well, but I just had a quick question that might be useful for everyone. I've got a lot of feedback because we're looking for funding right now that an advisor on the board would be useful, but it's very difficult to find the right advisor, and sometimes the investor is the person that could help advise you. So what's your opinion on this particular option, let's say, of having an advisor at the early stage to help you with funding versus potentially getting an investor to be your advisor?
I'm writing a book on that. So, so we should definitely
Sold.
talk. Because sometimes it's a mistake. And you really, like when I talk about the in money, it's about relationship building. In investing, it's about relationship building. And so it's hard to say without an advisor, but I will tell you one company I recently advised for. I really actually liked this investor. Their money, which was $150,000, would have helped them close a round and lead to $1 million investment from another venture capital fund. But then I looked over the the docs. They wanted 2 board seats. They wanted right of first refusal for future board members and future investors. And so I always stress to early stage entrepreneurs, be very careful who you surround yourself. I think an advisory group at early stage is super smart, and I'm so thrilled that you're thinking that way because many don't. Many times having that investor advisor is also really good, but keep in mind that relationship could change. I advise a tech company right now. I'm on the board, I'm an investor, I want to fire the CEO. I was able to have enough of a relationship with her to say, hey, it's time for you to move on. But it took years. Sometimes at the early stage, you kind of want to have a little bit of separation. One of the things I've suggested to other early stage founders is, why don't we start out as an advisor to the board, meaning that they are not a full board member, they have no voting rights, so they can't take any part of they can't dictate management, can't dictate future rounds, but being able to kind of get to like a courting period before you get married. So I would suggest, listen, I'm giving you this, and treat it, say, it's the same as being on the board. I just need time to figure out next steps, grow our business, in case someone writes a bigger check. So I'd leave your options open as much as you can, but play it like, you'll be my advisor. You're on the advisory board, but not your official board.
Thank you.
We're over time.
So, okay, well, thank you guys. I appreciate you having me.